Hello everybody and welcome back to RCT Creations. We have a little bit of a different style episode this time around. So it's going to be an RCT construction, but it's actually going to be the demolition of White Cyclone here at Joyland Amusement Park in Albany, New York. We're going to get started by just kind of trimming off some of these sections here. As you can see, the transfer track was moved over. We're going to eliminate that as it was moved over to get the trains off for the final time. The parts for those were likely, if this was a real park, shipped to Funland to be used on the Cyclone coaster they have there. We're going to then go through and trim off the back end of the ride, so the brake run, the final turnaround, the airtime hills, some of the support structures to make it a little bit easier to potentially topple some of these sections over and make it a little bit easy on ourselves here. Get rid of the second airtime hill, which was actually the only difference between White Cyclone and Cyclone at Funland. Start trimming off some of the inside of the structure. Get the turnaround ready there for demo, and just go through and keep trimming off some of those extra sections. We're going to get rid of the station pieces on the inside right there. Go back through, get rid of some of these extra airtime hills, leave the stuff under the support structure because those would be integral to the structure of the main lift. As far as White Cyclone goes, it gave its final rides in October of 1996 and stood standing but not operating for the entirety of the 1997 season. So it would have been there, but not operating. You know, it's kind of a somber thing to see some of these creations, and it really is kind of crazy. You think about, you know, coasters, buildings. I mean, Las Vegas is a prime example of this, but it takes years of, you know, planning, design, and effort to get these rides done. I mean, just even in this game, it took me a while to get this ride ready, and we're already to the final sections of the structure. We're just got a couple of little airtime hills we're going to get rid of, and then the main lift hill right there, and that's all that's left. And it just took a couple of minutes to get this ride deconstructed to that point. As I was doing it, you could kind of see me doing it there. I would just get zoomed out images just to kind of take a last look at the ride as it stood in Joyland, because the 1998 edition is going to make the skyline look quite a bit different. So this plot will not be sitting vacant for very long. As we go through here, we're going to get rid of the exit path, a lot of the queue for the ride. My goal is to kind of keep a lot of the buildings intact here, just to kind of have stuff there, wall them off, and keep the scenery there as much as possible with the new edition, but we'll see how it looks as the new coaster for 1998 fits in there. But just a little bit of back-end trivia for White Cyclone here. So when I first built the Fun Corporation Parks in RCT3 back in 2012, White Cyclone was never actually built. So it never actually existed, because when I first built those parks way back when, my intention with that was to have a, by 2012 standards, modern parks. There was a bunch of different rides there. And I think eventually I'll share like an overview shot of what those parks look like, but White Cyclone never existed. It was just kind of a storyboard piece that I thought it was kind of cool that, in theory, to have, you know, these both parks start out with two identical wooden coasters, and then one of them got demolished pretty early on, and the original one operated a lot longer than the recreation did. But that should just about do it for this episode. White Cyclone is gone. We're kind of getting rid of the station here, got rid of the transfer supports, and now we're getting rid of any traces that the ride was really there. As you did see there a little bit, I left a little bit of queue inside the main queue house there where the overflow was, just a little bit of a hint that there was a ride there. But that will just about do it for this one. White Cyclone is demolished, and it's time to make way for 1998 expansion. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one.